What's up, everybody? Welcome to the stream. I'm just kidding. Welcome back, Keith.
Oh, I was like, did you do it to him again?
You know we did. Every time.
Oh, man.
He enjoys it.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another Monday Night R3 cast with myself, Rob Raven, and Mr. Coin Crew. What is going on? We, of course, on these streams, we love to talk to you guys, take questions. Tonight, we're going to be talking about silver going up to almost $20 an ounce. It's testing that resistance, so that's what we're going to get into first. But before we get there, I want to introduce my awesome friends. And right over here to my side is Raven Hot Coins. Raven, what's going on, my man?
Man, living the dream, you know, having a good time, watching everybody's channels grow with some great content. And nice to see silver going up a little bit finally. And going to a lot of coin shows. I'm going to the Duncan Coin Show next week. Then the week after that, I'll be with Rob Finds Treasure down in Grapevine, Texas. So,
in fact, aren't you changing the name of your channel to Raven Hot Coin Show? No,
hey. That actually might work.
Coin shows with Ravenhawk. You'll be like those YouTubers that do the yard sales. You know, like Froggy Flips and
just going around to coin shows.
Yeah, it's going around to coin shows with the GoPro. You know.
I've noticed, though, a lot of dealers aren't very keen on wanting you to video them and their stuff, you know?
No,
so
they're usually not. It's a little bit different than a yard sale, but it's still funny.
I'll get your special glasses and act like they won't know. I'll be like,
oh, my goodness. Do you still have those webcam glasses or whatever they were?
They have the worst quality ever. I haven't used them in forever. They're just horrible. I can't handle it. Like, I have two GoPros. I'd much rather just hide the GoPro somewhere in a heavy jacket. And we're getting into wintertime, so maybe I'll be able to do that.
I have the swimming GoPro attachment. They just literally paste it to my forehead. So not the ones with the big bars, but just the one that straps to your head.
Right. All right. So speaking of, on the bottom there on the right, we have Mr. Rob Finds Treasure. What's going on, Rob?
You know, just happy to hang out with my homies once again. And a little excited about the silver jumping up, of course. But then again, I'm a long-term stacker, so it doesn't really matter to me that much. Except for I know I'm going to spend a little bit more when I buy it now. That's it.
Right. Fair enough. And right to our bottom, of course, we have Keith from the Coin Crew. Now, if you wipe the dust out of the way, you'll be able to see him. You just got to get that out of the way first.
Old Dusty.
Wipe it out. Wipe it out. You'll see me. Anyway, happy to be here. Thanks for having me. And I don't know if I'm happy about silver going up because, you know, as Rob says, you can buy more when it's less expensive.
You know, and that's what's so funny to me. And then, by the way, guys, before I get into this, remember that we will be taking questions. So feel free to ask a question in the chat so long as it's tasteful and on topic. I will absolutely try and get to every one. There's the possibility that I missed your comment or your question. So if I don't respond to it within 4 or 5 minutes, feel free to post it again. We'll see what happens. But that's what gets me, and I'll get your guys' opinion on this, and then we'll get to some questions from the chat. It's like everyone's like, oh, silver's low, silver's low, ha, 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 ha. You know, I'm always happy when it's low. Like, don't get me wrong, it doesn't feel good to wake up in the morning and see it go from 20 to 15. But once you get used to it being into the 16 or 17s, you kind of like it there because if you're stacking, unless your intent is to sell, you want it to be low. Like, why, if your plan is to continue to add to your stack, why are you hoping for $50 silver? You know what I mean? So I don't know. What do you think, Raven?
I'm right there with you. You know, I really enjoy when silver's low because I can get some things at better prices, including even some numismatic stuff, you know, adjust a little bit to silver prices. Not as much as bullion per se, but sometimes, you know, you can kind of justify, well, hey, silver's down. Let me get this more common item from you, especially like, you know, constitutional silver here and there. But I've noticed, you know, constitutional has been sticking at that 20 point and above lately. So it's a little bit hard sometimes, but you know, it's good for there to be fluctuations and movement in silver and gold. You have to have peaks and valleys, and you know, you buy when it's low, you sell what you want when it's high, and you keep growing your stack.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like it's, I get it if you're wanting to sell your silver. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people out there that are trying to sell silver, and so they want it to go up. But the majority of people that I see that are upset when silver goes up are the people that are just trying to buy, and it just doesn't make sense to me. It into that let's buy high and sell low mentality or something. Rob, what say you, man?
No, like I said earlier, I mean, don't get me wrong. For somebody that has a pretty significant stack of silver, and I think anyone who's been doing this long enough, whether you're 28 years old or almost 50 like me, you're going to have some silver stacked up. And so, like Seeker originally said, I would hate to have 5,000 ounces of silver and have it drop $5 overnight, because that's a significant chunk of money I've just lost.
Yeah.
But as a long-term stacker, it's nice when it is 17, 18, 19 bucks, because I can continue to buy junk silver at an affordable price overall, cherry pick through it, have fun, and add some to my stack. When it goes up 20, 22, 24, 25, $30, now it makes my average per ounce might be more profitable in the long run for me. But as I'm stacking, it's also bringing up my cost per ounce right now as well. So personally, if it could jump up to $100 overnight, I'd be scared, but I'd probably cash them in. But I would prefer for it just to sit where I like to buy it, sell it, and trade it at, which is where it's at now.
Exactly. And then I'm going to ask Keith the same thing, but I'm going to ask Keith to give it to us from a coin dealer's perspective, because that's what you do. What is it like for you? Would you rather it be low? Would you rather it go up? Or do you even care?
I don't care. No, I'm just kidding. Seriously, to touch back on what Rob said real quick. Rob, you don't lose money if it drops $5 and you don't sell it.
Well, I said my mind would feel like I lost a lot of money.
From a coin dealer's perspective, I think it is better, I guess you could say, at a lower price, because it's all about percentages when it comes to buying and selling coins. The lower the cost per ounce, the more percentage you could make. Let's say if silver hypothetically was $5 an ounce and I sell it for $5.50, that's a 10%. But if it's 20 and I sell it for 21, that's only 5%. So
right.
The lower it is from a dealer's perspective, it is better, but it's also important that silver does have these fluxes up and these fluxes down, because without the fluxes, people lose interest.
Yep.
And with no interest, it will continue to go down, down, down.
That is true, and I wonder what happens. So right now, as you guys can see, silver is 1983. That is a live spot ticker on the screen there. I wonder what happens if it goes up into the mid-20s again. Does the interest spike again? You know what I mean? Because it did, like, especially as it started dropping. I mean, you noticed a pullback in interest. I definitely saw it. So it'd be interesting to see how that works out. Go ahead, Ray.
Before there was a fear of missing out going on when the pandemic was really hot and heavy. And a lot of people got in on the higher end, and I think it really disenfranchised them, because now all of a sudden they're kind of like what Rob said earlier. Mentally, when you're a numbers guy, you can't sometimes get around the idea of, I just lost 20% of the value of what I bought in the last 6 months. But yet this is a long-term strategy. You know, silver's eventually going to go back up, and you have to keep with that, you know? So I'm really hoping that the interest starts peaking a little bit more. I think with it going up a little bit, you know, there's some people out there that might start selling that didn't have it. You know, it's a really sticky situation for some, and some of us are, you know, happy with what's going on. I have no issues with it. And I had said a while back that I figured, you know, by the end of summer, it would start coming back up again, you know?
Yeah. So, what? Go ahead.
I was going to touch base on something he had mentioned about the pandemic. People got scared. I think what happened in the pandemic was the prices of everything was falling, and silver fell to that $11 and some change. And I guess you could say the stacking community wouldn't have it. And that's when the premium started. It never fell below the 14, 15 mark.
Well, the premiums actually started, and I have perfect evidence of this. The premium spike started February 1st of 2021. That was the beginning of the silver squeeze. And the reason I know that for a fact is because I have an invoice for a monster box of Silver Eagles that I bought in January, and I paid $290 over spot. Mm-hmm. And you couldn't find them anywhere close to that post-February. Like, as soon as that silver squeeze happened, because I remember making a video. It was crazy. I did this video, and I know there's people asking questions, and we will get to them soon, but it's a good topic, and that's what the title of the stream is, so let's get into it. I remember the middle of the night, like I had gotten a message on Discord. I was in bed. It was like midnight. I had gotten a message on Discord that AppMex had pulled everything off of their website. There was no silver available whatsoever. And I'm like, no way. And so I, opened up AppMex's website, and sure enough, everything was shown as sold out. And what AppMex had done was pulled everything off of the site because of the whole silver squeeze thing. Everyone was trying to make a rush on physical silver. They were afraid that the price was going to spike overnight. And so they pulled everything. And then you saw that next morning that other online retailers like SD Bullion pulled theirs as well until the markets opened Sunday at 4:30 p.m. or whatever time it opens on Sunday. I got up, literally, it was crazy. I'd never done this before, but I looked over at my wife and I said, hey, I'm going to go downstairs and make a video. And I made a video about that literally middle of the night. I uploaded it, launched it, went to bed. And the next morning it had like 20,000 views. I remember it was crazy. But yeah, you're right. So that whole situation just caused a FOMO. Everyone was searching silver. AppMex is out of silver. No one's out of silver. What's going on with silver? It really did create a FOMO situation for a lot of people. And I think that's unfortunate because there were a lot of people that bought into silver. I saw, and I've said this in videos before, I've seen comments back during February, March, April, May of 2021. I actually, one of them specifically on Sal's channel, and the guy was being serious because people were replying to him. And he said that he had actually went ahead and taken out a second mortgage on his house and put it all in the silver. And this was when silver was like $27 an ounce with sky high premiums. And, it's people like that aren't interested in silver anymore. They got burnt because of that FOMO, and that's really unfortunate because that's not, in my opinion, the right way to stack silver. And I know I just talked, your ear off, but Raven, you want to add anything to that, or should we get to questions?
Let's get to questions. I think we're beating it up.
I mean, anyone else want to get in on that before we go? I'd be happy to let you talk. So I talked a lot. As you can tell, sometimes when I make the videos, when I'm talking like that, there's no cuts and edits. I'm just talking. But anywho, Richard Sappington asked this question like 10 minutes ago. We'll finally get to it. He says, think with the passing of the Queen, will silver with her on its spike for a little while? I don't think so.
There's too much out there.
There's too much.
Yeah.
70-year reign. Her face is on so many different countries, denominations of whether it's clad, nickel, copper, silver, gold, you name it. She's everywhere. It's plentiful. And now, it's not like the bar notes where somebody was serving for a short period of time and signed some bills and now they're collectible. If the new king gets the nomination struck and something, God forbid, happens to him within the first year, then you would have what you're talking about. It would not only spike for a little bit, it would spike forever.
Right.
I did notice on eBay people started flipping their pictures to the Queen side of the coin, and they did try to exploit that slightly. Couple bucks an ounce. I've noticed.
Yeah. So I guess Keith, with that being said, you will have some exploitation of that, and somebody who owns no silver and loved the Queen and said, you know what, I want something with her on it that's collectible. They're probably going to have a new bunch of players come into the market that just invest in some keepsake and will drive a little bit of value in it, but long term, no.
I can tell you exactly where the exploitation is going to come from with the Queen's passing in silver coins. Whatever the last silver coin is with her face on it, or the last few, guarantee there will be slabs from like Mike from HSN through Annex and things like that. Queen's last coin, one of 2,000, 100.
Maybe that.
Yeah, $199,000. Get it before they run out.
But I will say this: I started working at a coin shop here just one day a week. Yay! And really cool experience. But when I was there, we were getting calls. Do you have anything with the Queen's face on it? And we're like, yeah. And explaining it to people, she's the most publicized coin and currency person on the face of the planet, and we got a lot. So. It is interesting that the interest is there, but there's just, like Rob said, there's too much of it for it to make a difference, except for you got to, a couple of the creative people, the shopping network and eBay people adding a little premium to it, so to speak, on their own.
Right. All right. So the next question, and I'm going to let someone else answer this. Whoever starts talking first gets it. I hope one of you guys open your mouth. Patriot Fighter says, question, if we go back to a dollar-backed currency, I think he means a gold and silver backed currency. What do you think gold and silver will do if our money was actually backed by gold and silver? Go ahead, Keith.
That's it. I was that quick. Go up.
Oh,
Like up. There's not enough gold or silver to cover as much money as printed in the entire world. So the only common sense would be silver and gold to go up in value.
And,
Yeah.
and you know, think about them bringing back dollar silver certificates. What are you going to get silver one fraction of a grain, for your dollar?
I'm looking for something. There's
Well,
nothing that small.
I mean, to be fair, without premium, a dollar is worth more than a gram. But once premiums are added on, I mean, the whole market, that's just not possible right now. Unfortunately, I don't think it's possible. There's too many people. Too much money has already been printed. The only way to really get back to a gold and silver based currency is to completely get rid of fiat and the U.S. dollar as it is and start a new currency system backed by gold and silver again. But I don't think the government has enough gold and silver left to do it. So, all right. So here we go. Rob finds treasure. How much is junk silver at your NCS? Chip Warner wants to know.
Well, at my LCS, the last time I purchased it was 20 times face, but that was before the spike. So I would imagine it's probably sitting at 22 right now. I would think somewhere around that range. I mean, if I were to walk in tomorrow and silver's still at around $20, it's probably at 22 maybe.
Okay. So 22 times. And that's kind of what I've noticed.
That's historical. Whether it's $19 or $20, it seems like it's 22 when I go get it. And the only time I paid less than 20 is when it was 16, 17. And then even then, maybe I was only paying 18 and a half, 19. And it depends on the junk silver too, because not all junk silver is created equal.
Yeah, sure. All right. So, sorry. Go ahead.
My confession is my LCS charges 22.
Yeah. And I wouldn't expect to pay less than that right now. I wouldn't expect that.
So M4A2 Master wants to know, question for the panel. I'm going to actually let Rob or Raven hit this one because they've been going to more coin shows than I have. Maybe Keith. But if you were to go to a coin show and had $5K to spend on what coin, what would you look for? Raven, take it away.
Actually, there's a couple currency pieces that I would want for that price. A really, really nice bison or the chief. Matter of fact, I got a chief recently that I need to do a video on that was a gift, but yeah, something just really epic in currency. I've been picking up a lot of really nice coins, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. If I had just 5K to blow on something that I know is super rare, I think that's where I would go.
Right. What about you, Rob? What would you look for?
For 5K, I think bang for buck and long-term value, I would upgrade my 1909 SVDB to a mid-state red. Probably for that price, I could get that 63 maybe. If I found the right dealer that wants to move it, maybe even a little slightly better. But I don't have a mint-state red or even a mint-state 09 SVDB. I've got a fine and a very fine, and I've never. It's one of those things. It's like when I put together the 52 Topps baseball card set, the only card I needed was the mantle, and I had to take one of those way back in the day, one of the beat up ones in a PSA holder that was fair poor, you know what I mean? And even then it was like $2,500 30 years ago. So I would have to upgrade that one too, but for coins, I need to upgrade my 09 SVDB. So I think I would look for one of those.
Fair enough. So if I were to look for something, and I will let Keith answer, I'd probably look for a nice VF or better 1893 S Morgan, just because that's a fantastic coin to get to complete a set. So I mean that'd be one I would look for myself. What about you, Keith?
You don't have one?
If I were M4A2, yes, I do have a 93S.
Oh, I was like,
right, but I'm just
upgrade.
Well, mine's already a VF, but my point is if I were M4A2, I would look for a nice 93S.
The low key flex there.
It wasn't a low key flex.
I was like, VF, holy cow!
I got a nice one, but I'll look for another one.
I was answering from M4A2's perspective. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Keith.
From M4A2's perspective, it'll be something I don't have. Because I've always wanted one. If I was going to choose to spend $5,000 on a coin, I would get maybe a Charlotte or a Dahlonega gold coin. Any denomination I could get, the nicest possible grade. I wouldn't worry about paying 10 or 20% more because guess what? In a year or two, it's going to be worth that anyway.
Fair enough.
Well said.
Those are tough coins to get.
You stay out the cabinets.
I would just make sure that the graders are extra generous on those. They will grade a cleaned one and give it a number. So make sure when you do buy it, it's not cleaned, because they still get numbers because of the rarity factor.
Speaking of cleaning, and I'm going to jump all the way to something I just saw pop up.
One from Jeff.
Yeah, if I can find it. Here we go. So, a YouTube coin dude admitted to cleaning Morgans before sending in for grading. He unboxed them and they came back with MS grades and no mention of cleaning. Thoughts? I know for a fact that this happens. I would love to do a video proving it, but whenever you send a submission to PCGS or NGC, you have to sign the paperwork. And in the signature of that paperwork says that you may not send in coins that you know have been cleaned. And if I were to do a video where I like dip some coins in silver cleaner and then send it off and then, unbox a video and it blows up on YouTube, guarantee you their lawyers would be on the phone with me the next week or so.
But Seeker, is their definition of cleaning dipping?
I mean, I would consider any sort of altered,
So would I, but I think if you had a good lawyer too, they'd say, did he actually apply something in a manner that's consistent with cleaning the coin? And
restoration is different than cleaning, and that's what you would have to be able to prove is what you've done.
Right.
This got an MS68 Plus with artificial toning.
Yeah, Seeker's right, though. It's being done all the time. But I think Seeker makes the best point of all. If you admit to doing it, and then, they're not going to touch a small channel who gets several thousand views at best. But if Seeker did it and had a video go viral, and it actually hurt PCGS or NGC, they would come after him.
So basically, Raven and I are safe to do a video like that.
No. That's not what he said.
Here's the thing.
He said small channels.
They're also smart to go to a dealer to have the dealer submit it, because it's now tracked back to the dealer. It's not tracked back to the person that owns the coin. So if anything happens like that, it's a very touchy subject. There's no doubt about it.
So M4A2 Master says PCGS says dipping is not cleaning on their site. So you would have to go a little bit farther. So the reason I say I know this is I have personally, with my own eyes, seen coin dealers use MS70 on coins. They'll take a Q-tip, they'll dip it in the MS70, and then they'll roll it across the top of the coin. So that's actually
not considered cleaning. That's not. I don't think that's considered cleaning.
Okay,
I've heard a couple dealers say they do it
if
too.
You don't scratch it.
That's restoration if you don't scratch it. In my opinion, it's and again, there's a fine line. I mean, I know people that have taken a coin that looked great, cleaned it or applied a dip or MS70 and came back cleaned, and they think it's their fault. It might have already been cleaned prior to them doing something. So it just depends on the coin.
Fair enough.
Brian Channon says, let me get back up there. They restore coins, so it makes sense. Acetone dip is restoration, which they cannot differentiate from restoration. Yeah, and acetone completely removes any chemicals from a coin.
And you know what's crazy? I've seen with my own eyes coins that came back from a grading company as cleaned and then cracked and resent and came back fine too.
Yep.
100%. It happens. It's unfortunate.
Depends on who ate their Wheaties.
Yeah, who ate their Wheaties or whatever they needed that morning. So Jeff said it was easiest coin cleaner is what that coin YouTuber did. I still, even if their website says that dipping isn't considered cleaning, I just wouldn't feel comfortable doing it. It just
I wouldn't.
Yeah. That is NGC's $50 restoration secret, says Chaichurin. Fair enough.
You know what, though? They do have some good copper restorers there, though, and they're not dipping those.
Right. All right, so let's see. I probably skipped over a bunch of questions when we went to that one, but I saw it pop up on the right-hand side of my screen with being tagged, so I'm going to have to go back through. But let's see. What is silver at? It's at 1984, so it's been bouncing there since we started. That is a live ticker for you guys that are just joining us right there to my bottom right. All right. I gotta scroll up. I am so sorry. I skipped over everything. How the heck do you restore copper? Here, Rob, while I'm looking back to where I was on the questions, you get into that one.
I am not an expert on restoring copper. I don't touch it. All I know is in my research to decide whether I should have NGC restore a chain cent that I have, I looked into theirs and PCGS, and based on a conversation I had with Michael Kittle, Rare Coins, he says that the NGC copper people are heads over tails the best in the business. And he's a PCGS guy, and he said I should submit it to them for restoration. No grade, just restoration. And when I get it back, determine on what I want to do next. So I don't know what they do. He didn't know what they do, but he knows that NGC has some good copper restorers. He's seen them as far as the results.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about that, Raven or Keith?
No, I've heard the same thing, that NGC has a better restoration program than PCGS from more than one dealer that I trust.
I've sent off coins to NGC for restoration, and they sent them all back to me cleaned after they restored them.
And that's why he said, get it restored only, no holder, get it back with the details if they can give you the details information, and then make a decision. Because if they know they restored it, 9 times out of 10, they're going to go ahead and put something on there you don't like. But if you get it back, you can look at it in hand and see now if it's worth submitting even back to them, but just make a decision.
Gotcha.
I personally don't, but I do know of a few, as they're called, coin doctors that are experts with coin, and they copper coin, but they will not give up their secrets.
Yeah.
They'll take it to their graves.
All right, so here we go. Matt Poe wants to know, is there a way to tell coins graded at 1 are artificial? So he's talking about poor 1, like artificially worn down, if you will. Is there a way to tell that, Keith? You know more about low balls than I think all of us do.
Is there a way to tell poor 1 graded? No, not really. I mean, because the poor 1 grades, I mean, with a mint mark, you're barely going to be able to tell those away. And not all coins will make a poor 1. And
right. But I guess what he's saying is, can you tell if someone artificially wore it down, like in a machine or whatever?
Or put it in your pocket for a year.
Yeah.
No, because I've tried that. And I've carried them in my pocket for a year or 2 years. Actually, 3 years.
Yeah, if I got a 2, I might crack it and put it in my pocket.
They call it cleaned. They won't give it a straight grade because it'll start to rub with each other and it'll get a sheen to it, and they'll call it cleaned. If you throw it in bulk, they'll send it back. If you put it in regular submission, they'll call it cleaned. AG details or poor details or fine details. Fair, rather. They will not grade them.
So here we go. Silver Seeker, how is the price of silver determined? Is it similar to how stock prices fluctuate on Wall Street? It literally is it's on the COMEX, which is Commodities Exchange, and it literally works just like a stock. Like, yeah, the contracts for silver specifically are sold in 5,000-ounce contracts. No one ever takes delivery on them. They just swap them around all the time. But yeah, it's literally works just like the stock market, except for it's not on the NASDAQ or anything like that. Let's see. For the panel, Seeker, why does the APMEX silver chart always skew 20 to 20 cents higher than Kitco? So that is a good question that people have been asking me. Like, why is spot price different from one site to another? And as far as I know, there is no official, universal way to calculate spot. So each site calculates it a little bit differently, which leads to the difference in prices. That's as far as I'm going to go with it, because I don't know any deeper than that unless these three do. That's just what I've been told.
Everybody buys and sells something for what they think it's worth and what someone else will pay.
They're just talking about the spot, like the ticker itself on each website.
Everybody,
right.
Just like you said, they just kind of go do their own thing. They refer to their own pricing based on what somebody else is, but they buy and sell it for what they feel it's worth.
Fair enough.
No universal.
All right. So, that was actually to someone else. So here we go. What do you guys think of the new 2022 Nui Bitcoin silver coin that has the queen on the back? First coin with Bitcoin and the queen on it. That is legal tender. I didn't even know about that. That's interesting. Yeah, so it'll be the first and the last one with the queen on it. There's one of the coins we're talking about, right? I'm sure.
Tomorrow.
It's good.
It's going up tomorrow.
Dude, yeah, watch HSN Coin Collector in a week or two. Guarantee there's annex slabs. They're ready to go. A real Bitcoin with the queen. And
the next one will be King Charles.
I'll be like,
the first year.
You know how Mike from the HSN guys, he's going to pitch that, don't you? Bitcoin right now today is worth $20,000, but you can get this for just $150.
Yeah.
And they'll do the thing where they have the queen and then the king. You got the queen last year, first year king.
Oh yeah.
They'll charge
$350.
$3.99. They'll tack on another $100 just because they're putting them together.
And don't forget, in a couple of years, they will magically find a box that was never opened, and it will be the last box ever sold from the mint. And it'll be in a little slab that says last production day, and they'll charge $2,000 a coin or something goofy like that. 3 easy payments, as Chai Churin says.
3 easy payments.
That's right.
3 easy payments. 1 payment is worth what the coin is. The other 2 are what we're going to make you give us. All right. So
I honestly got to hand it to Mike over there at that HSN or wherever he is. He actually helps me sell silver because he charges a lot more than I do.
Oh yeah,
He's a nice guy like that.
So they see it at your shop, and they're like, "All right, you know what? We'll buy it from you."
Yeah.
That's got to be a good deal because that's better than what they're selling it for online.
That's exactly it.
So are all 2012 Monster Box Silver Eagles from West Point Mint considered burnished? Keith?
No. They have some San Francisco ones. As a matter of fact.
No. He's asking the ones that are from West Point. Are they all considered burnished?
No, that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
I have San Francisco that are burnished compared to the 12 or West Point. The West Points don't look burnished to me compared to San Francisco. I wouldn't call them burnished.
Fair enough. All right, let's see. I got to scroll down. It's a secret code of silence, says Brad Zierlin.
They have a West Point in the blue box that's burnished.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So Silver Swanner says, Silver Seeker, what do you think of the Dawn and Dusk ASC AGE stack price? The 77K to 100K for a single ASC/AGE for a label.
Wow.
I actually don't know about that one. Is that from the Mint?
That was at the World's Fair Money Show.
Oh, okay.
All I got to say is, wow. That's a lot of money.
I actually didn't know about it. If it's anything from the Mint, I don't know because I have sworn off the Mint this year.
It's the Type 1 and Type 2 from 2021 Silver Eagles and Gold Eagles. So there's 2 ounces of gold and 2 ounces of silver.
$77,000 to $100,000?
Like I said, wow.
Yeah.
That I don't think that's going to hold that value. Like anyone who's buying that right now is either buying it to flip or they're going to lose money in a few years, in my opinion.
It'll be like that 14 gold Kennedy.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That is interesting. I did not know about that one. Huh. All right. So Chai says, I'm late to the chat, but did you guys discuss why we had such a spike in silver spot today? Is it because inflation might have peaked? I'm confused and silver is doing the opposite. Why did it spike today? I know that I heard the dollar index dropped.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, go into it, Keith, because you did a video about that today, didn't you?
The dollar index did not drop substantially today.
No, it didn't drop enough for the spike. I think the industrial is starting to pick up a little bit of the slack in it. They're starting to demand more. As you know, that's the major factor in the silver pricing. I think people are just getting tired of low silver, and it's becoming more in demand even with the investors. And I think it's a little bit of the dollar dropping, which it wasn't much, and the industrial. I think it was a combination of the two. But again, I'm just a guy. I'm guessing. I didn't go to school for this stuff.
I mean, your shirt says you're just a guy. That makes sense.
Yeah, look at that.
I think we're all just guys.
But I am literally just a guy. It says it on my shirt.
Silver Sovereign says we need John and Judy on a coin. I agree.
God.
Raven's face.
That would be funny.
That's like the ultimate in pervert coin. Here's 2 blow-up dolls hanging out together.
So Discover Sunshine says, referring to earlier when you said you like the price lower, what is everyone's preferred price range? I'm a long-term stacker, but when prices get lower, I do worry about needing to sell in an emergency. I've been talking a lot more than these guys, but I'll kind of touch on this one and we'll see if they want to chime in. When I talk about stacking silver, I always talk about the whole right reasons and making sure that you have like an emergency stash ready to go. I would hope that people that are stacking have at least enough money put aside that they don't need to sell if an emergency comes up, at least a small one. Obviously, if your house burns down or you get something horrible like cancer or something that, it's going to break you, then obviously, yeah, you would want it to be higher because you're going to need to sell it. But generally what I would tell people is to make sure you have at least some sort of emergency fund aside before you start worrying about your silver. And that is anybody. Like, it's just more important to be prepared, because as much as I believe in silver and as much as I believe it's undervalued and as much as I believe it's going up, we don't all live forever. And there are always things that are going to happen, whether you're in a car accident and have to cover your deductible, whatever it is. You always want to have that money aside. So hopefully you don't find yourself in a situation where you have to sell for an emergency, but I do get it. And like Rob said, mentally, it feels like you lost a bunch of money, even if you're not selling it. So I don't know. You guys want to add to that, Rob?
You didn't answer the question.
What?
How did I not? Your preferred price range?
Oh, my preferred. I like silver. I like silver in the 15 to 20 range, preferably closer to 15 to 18.
Sorry for calling you out like that. But
no, you're fine. That's a good point. I didn't answer the question. I misunderstood, and I went into a whole different spiel. What's your guys' preferred range?
I think it goes down to how good are you at keeping records and dollar cost averaging. Whenever you buy silver for your stack, not silver you're giving away or whatever, but silver for your stack. Like if I bought silver and I'm handing it to the grandkids, that's not perma stack stuff. I don't need to keep that dollar cost average figures in my journal. But if I were to buy 100 ounces, or let's say a monster box out of nowhere, I would put down what I paid with the premiums and I put that into my perma stack. And that way, over the next several years, I would know what my average cost per ounce is of what I paid. And so when silver does jump up $2, it's nothing for me to get excited about typically, because it doesn't do me any good. And if it goes down $2, it doesn't get me nervous either. And I think Keith hit the nail on the head. I mean, it keeps interest out there. I like when it moves up or down. When it moves, it's the talk of the town, and that brings publicity to it, and it brings interest to it, good or bad. And so anyway, my preferred average range is like what Seeker said. I like it at $15 to $20 range. I think I was happy with it at $18 for years, and then we went over this $27, $28 mark, and now it feels like we're losing at under 20. Look how long in the history of silver it has actually survived above $20. How many days as a percentage of its life that we've calculated its value? It hasn't lived above 20 very much of its history at all. So I think that $15 to $20 range is good. And I think you got to keep good records for your stack. And then that way, like, let's say I'm sitting on 10,000 ounces at an average of $11.86. I'm good. You know what I mean? And,
yeah.
and I know I'm good, even if it falls to 15 or 14.
My hope is with my permanent stack, and I like that you use that term, because with what we do, there are differences between some silver that we use and some silver that's in our permanent stack. But I honest to God hope that when I die, it just goes to my kids. I don't even ever want to use it.
Right.
Like, seriously, I obviously won't be around to see them enjoy what they're going to do with it, whether they decide to stack it for their kids or use it for, whatever they're going to use it for. I would love for it to be there, even if I won't be able to see them use it. Like, I would love for me to have a ton of silver when I go and let them be able to use that.
As long as they don't turn into the Bank of America for face value.
They know a little, given that I'm a YouTuber about silver, they know a little bit more.
No, I know, but I see that stuff even today still. I'm like, how did someone turn this into a bank?
Right. Oh, my goodness. Jamie Fox says, silver to the moon, we hope. But do you? Because are you not buying anymore and you just want to sell it? Then I get it. Yeah, if you're not buying any more silver and your plan is to sell, to the moon you want it to go. There's no question about it. Oh, my goodness. Let's see. Checking different dealers and LCSs around the area. $5 premium seems to be the average. I assume you're meaning for rounds, and that is pretty accurate. What does it take for silver premiums to fall, or will it only go up? This is a really good question. Keith, what causes silver premiums to be around $5?
Oh, just put me on the spot. I don't.
Well,
mind.
You're a coin shop, so
I'm an old guy too. So
yeah, that's true. All right.
What causes premiums to go up? Well, first off, you've got the miners. They want to get spot or more, and then you have the fabricators and the refiners. It's the refiners and fabricators. Sometimes they're both one and the same. They have to make money. Then they sell it to the wholesaler that's going to buy 5, 10, 20,000 ounces of whack. They got to make money. And then you got the guy like me that's got to make money. Wholesale, depending on where we get it from, right now is about 255 to 350 over wholesale. And you know, you got to buy 300 to 500 ounces just to get it that reasonable. And then I've got to make money. So it's just everybody's hands in it. The only way you can get the premiums down is for the demand to drop. And I don't see the demand dropping and I did mention it a little bit on my video today, that there is going to be a shortage come 2035 because we're running out in the ground. The closer we get to 2035, that premium is going to increase or the price is going up, one of the two.
Okay. Rob, Raven?
Supply and demand is a big part of what's going on with premiums. If you look at the popularity in Silver Eagles specifically, you know, it's gotten ridiculous. And no matter what price they put them out for, they're still getting that $12 to $15 range at a lot of places. Some of the nicer shops are more like the $8 to $10 premium. And it really literally has to do with the supply and the demand, because the dealer can't turn around and buy the same coins he has for that lower price anymore because of the premium doing what it's doing. You know, but I do notice on generic silver, $5 is a pretty average, you know, $4 to $5.50 is what I've seen around here. And it's kind of hard to add much more than supply and demand. You know, simple economic laws do factor into why silver is doing what it's doing in the marketplace. Even if the spot price drops, those premiums spike up because they just can't replace the physical silver for that price of 1983, you know, with like $1 a head or whatnot. It's just impossible when people are willing to pay that extra number, you know.
Fair enough. You know, I think another factor is a lot of people don't think about, this was actually touched on with an interview I did from the Grove Coin show with Trent, but labor costs, regardless of whether, if you want to believe it or not, labor costs are definitely up as well, as is transportation cost. So I don't see with where the demand is, like the demand would have to drop to a point that all of the silver that's being bought and sold is local and it's not being transported.
Right.
I think really for those premiums to come down to where they were.
And there's a thing that Brian Shannon's got a comment right there about, aren't the multiple tested ground supplies in South America and Canada that have not been mined yet? And that's true. There are some big mines in Mexico that they have not touched yet. And so, you know, I don't see us running out of the silver like you know, Keith is saying, not to be a jerk about it or anything, but I know for a fact there's some pretty big sloughs of land, and they've tested it, and they said there's just tons of silver in there, both in South America and in Canada. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, you know, but that's still 13 years from now. That's a long time, you know.
Well, what's going to happen, Raven, is they're waiting for the price of silver to be more because, but like everyone was saying, by the time even in Mexico, by the time you factor in labor and the mining costs, the machining, transporting,
refining,
the next guy who's going to process the ore and do all that. I mean, by the time you get all that factored in, if I'm making $1 a ton, it's not worth mining right now. It's not even worth the endeavor, no matter how rich the mine or the ground is. And so I think a lot of times they sit on these lands, just like anyone who sits on property on the moon. Remember they sold moon property like 40 years ago? I mean, anyone who sits on property, typically what you're waiting for is the right time to sell, or the right time, in their case, to mine. And so I think if in 2035 happens like Keith might think as well, and I'm there with him, if it does happen and supply comes up and silver jumps up, now the cost to mine might be more in line with going ahead and opening that up and doing that project. And then supply will then be met with the demand again. And then we'd have this jump for a year or two until the mining operations got up and running. And then we'd have the price come back down again.
They've done geological tests. There's not enough silver to maintain past 2035 at the current rate of demand.
At the current rate of demand.
Yes.
Right, but what Raven's saying is they had mines that they tested that had a lot of silver effective for them to mine it.
Right.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah, that's a big factor.
Right.
Definitely a big factor.
M4A2 Master just said currently it costs $22.17 an ounce to mine silver when you figure all the cost involved.
Correct, and that was what my point was. Is we're not even. It's not even you can't even. You're making $1 a ton. I think what I heard 4 months ago is it's like the most mining companies are making about $1 per ton of ore, and I'm like, there's just no money in it right now. There's no money in it right now for them, and that's why a lot of people are sitting in unmined lands, and you'll see all these fancy schmancy mining companies saying, hey, we're going to open this up next year. We're going to do this next year. You got to buy into us and help us get going because we got all this. Well, I don't know about that. It's going to be a little bit before that happens.
The thing right now about silver mining is it's more cost effective to mine silver as a byproduct of a copper mine.
Right.
A silver mine, as I think M4A said, it's not productive at $22.17 an ounce.
Not productive, but if you're getting other metals like platinum and palladium mixed in there with it, now all of a sudden now it's affordable.
Yeah,
right.
And that's the problem.
But is that number accurate though? Because I could have sworn not long ago they said it was like $15, $16 an ounce to produce. I mean, now you're talking like a $6 per ounce jump.
Dude, when's the last time you went to the grocery store? Like everything's more expensive now.
Everything.
Right, I know. I said that in jest. My point is that everything is so much more expensive right now. Labor is sky high right now. I mean, before the pandemic, the kids were having trouble finding jobs, and there's still places around me, like I'm talking fast food restaurants offering way over minimum wage, like $15, $16 an hour, because they can't even get enough employees. The other day I went through a drive-through, and the first thing the guy said to me was, we only have 2 people on staff. I just want to let you know you can place your order, but it's going to be a while before we get to it. This was at a fast food joint.
Yeah, that's happening here in Oklahoma too. The price of labor in different jobs that are, taking the labor force. You go to some of the fast food places or restaurants and they're like, hey, it's going to take a while because we don't have but 2 or 3 of us here. I've experienced the same thing. And it's kind of like, wow, and billboards saying $15 an hour to work at McDonald's.
And I was going to say, Ray, but my son he works at an automotive place and he's out in the heat all day in Lubbock, Texas, and he's making $18 an hour. It's like they're offering $16.50 to flip burgers. And I'm thinking, why am I out here dying in the heat in a car garage when I could be in an AC McDonald's flipping for $1 less an hour?
Yeah. And that's the problem. If you think about it, exactly what Rob's son just said, why would anybody do that? So you're going to have people in the harder labor jobs or the more skilled labor jobs to request more money, because if they don't, why not just go to McDonald's and get paid $17, $18? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the cost and everything is going to go up, and then that is mining costs are included in that as well. Another point is I was just talking to a Foot for Silver, and he told me, and this is an over the road trucker. He is making barely $15 an hour right now as an over the road trucker because of the high cost of diesel fuel.
Wow.
Can you imagine driving that long, a diesel truck, all the stuff that he has to go through, and only making $15 an hour when he could just quit and go to McDonald's and get that?
And imagine if every truck driver in the country decided not to work for a month. We'd have no product anywhere.
Oh yeah, it wouldn't even take a month.
Well, the supply, the
Right.
surplus might be able to be pushed through the system, but we'd be dead.
Yep. There's a lot of people that would be in a lot of trouble if that happened.
M4 made a comment earlier that he don't believe there's enough silver in the world to make all the solar panels required for energy efficient.
That's another thing. There is going to be there are other elements that can be used to make solar panels, by the way. There's technology coming out. But silver, regardless of that, silver is heavily used in green energy. EVs have twice the amount of silver that a gas car does. And you have, states that are already saying that they're not going to allow new gas cars to be sold, used ones obviously still, but new ones to be sold in their state after 2035. So there's a lot of stuff going to be changing in the next 15 or 20 years. And honestly, I'd want to be into silver. Like, I definitely would want to have silver with what's going on right now. I mean, that's just me. And I know that I'm slightly biased because my name's Panelseeker. It's a channel about silver. I want people to watch my videos, so I want them to stay interested in silver, whatever. Point is regardless of that, I definitely would want to be in silver with everything going on in the next 15 years.
By 2035, we'll finally start mining the silver, titanium, gold, and iron that's sitting there in the moon, on the moon.
There you go.
That's right.
Or the asteroid mining. They've been talking
Asteroid
about
mining,
that too.
yeah.
You know, that there's a lot of precious metals. It's just how cost effective is that going to be to take it from space?
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
take it from space. Well, eventually, if we have demand on the planet, there'll be a need to go capture it.
Yeah.
Right.
I watched a stupid movie the other day. It took me a couple days to watch it because I'm slow. Don't Look Up. They didn't destroy
That
an
movie
asteroid
sucks.
because of the precious metals and jewels and stuff on it, and it ends up destroying the Earth. They
Yep.
just want to try to mine it.
Yep.
Crazy.
It was silly. I was happy with the ending of that movie, though, where everyone got eaten.
Rich Fontaine said $18 an hour at the McDonald's where he's at for the late night crew.
I might need
Right.
to get a job at that McDonald's.
That's what I'm saying.
That's insane.
That's nuts.
I have missed so many questions. Guys, if I missed your question, feel free to repost it. We still got about 10 minutes. YJ Overlander says, question for the whole panel. If silver did a bull run to 100 in a few weeks, would you sell or hold? I would sell some. I'm not even going to lie about it. Like anyone who says they wouldn't is probably lying to you. I wouldn't sell it all, but I would definitely sell some.
I would sell some for sure.
Yeah. No
I
question.
would think about selling some, but I'd have to weigh out where I was going to put the money before I sold.
I'd put it back in the silver after it drops back down.
I would have to have a place to put the money. I wouldn't sell it just to sell it because it's at 100.
If silver jumped to 100 and gold only went to 3,000, would you swap them?
Yes, I would sell.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I would have to have some place to put the money from the silver because I'm a firm believer and I'm a strong stacker. I'm not going to sell my stack even at any price unless I have a good enough reason to.
Right.
100 is not a good enough. If I, like you said, gold stays at 3, that's a great reason. Even he has to cheese on that one.
Oh yeah, no, I was like, I know exactly where I put it based on the gold to silver ratio, though. If it was,
I would have to have a place to put it. I wouldn't want fiat. No.
So M4A2 Master says, and I'm going to take this from him like as truth, just because he is actually a certified technician that is certified to replace batteries in Teslas. But he says that Tesla's new battery technology for their cars is going to use double the amount of silver as there is in current packs. Just something else to look at, to think about. Just crazy.
How much silver is there? Does that mean in their to double it?
Well, right now I think in a current EV there's
Isn't it like 10 pounds or something?
no. It's like a kilogram or something like that. But still,
that's not too bad.
That's a lot of silver, even a kilogram.
Right. But
Yeah.
you figure every
Go
car.
to LCS and ask for a kilogram of silver. It'll cost you some money.
Yeah, exactly.
If every car has 1 kilogram, not everybody in the world is going to be able to own an electric car.
Oh,
True.
they've already said that there's not enough resources for that to happen.
Oh, M4 said there's 15 ounces per pack currently.
Thank you, M4.
Okay. Thank you, dude.
15 ounces, Troy, per pack currently. Double that is 30 ounces per Tesla.
Well, how
So it's
many?
just under
Wait a
half
second. How many
kilogram.
battery packs are in a Tesla, though?
Well, that's the whole battery pack. Like, I'm
Okay.
assuming the whole pack. So, anyway, that's
That's
interesting
still
information.
impressive.
Right, yeah. California wants to stop making gas cars, but they also said turn off your electric because blackout. So what are they saying? What direction? I mean, that's a valid point. I actually own an EV. You guys, most people that watch my channel know I own a Tesla, and I love it. But, I mean, that's a very valid point. I would say that a lot of the times, like, for example, I plug mine in, but my car is scheduled to not start charging till 1 a.m. when there's zero strain on the grid. So it's not like they have it plugged in during the day at the same time that they have their AC plugged in, which is the problem. But it's still, regardless of that, a very valid problem. There definitely needs to be an increase in infrastructure right now to support everyone having them. No doubt about it.
If my family was going to have a both EV car type garage, it wouldn't be tied to my electricity. I'd have a solar panel generator that stores power that charges that all day long.
Oh yeah, you can get a solar panels on your roof and get a power wall in your house.
I'd have a power set up just for everything. I mean,
right.
Because you're right. You don't want to be dependent on the grid and not be able to move your freaking car in an emergency because the grid's out. No, thank you.
I was in that EV of yours, Silver Seeker, and all I got to say is, ow.
Sorry.
That's what I was doing a while ago. He went from 0 to I don't know how fast and like that.
It was like 3 something seconds, 3.1.
Yeah, it was fast.
It's crazy. You get used to it though. You don't actually do it very much. I only do it when there's new people in the car. Outside of that, I never do that. But
That's what he says. He says that. He shows off to a lot of people, obviously. Oh, there's a new guy. Let's show him. It's they're very nice cars, though.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. Where were we? I'm losing. Silver Seeker. Then okay. So M4 said there's 15 ounces in the pack and 14 ounces in the car itself. So there's 29 ounces. So I was right, about a kilogram. I was right there. I was close.
You just misplaced where it went.
Right. I didn't know. It's like that's just what I had heard. So, wow, that's crazy.
It's a lot of silver.
Right. All right. So I've missed so many questions. I know it. I know it.
Silver's great. I'm just trying to fill the void.
No, you're good. You're good. You guys feel free to talk and answer questions that you see while I'm scrolling back up. Because I got to scroll back up to find questions I missed.
Silver's white. Silver's great. I don't know. Somebody else say something.
No, I'm typing in the chat when I see questions that are, for me, are easy to answer, I guess.
Robert Pintoff says the charging stations are $250,000. I've heard it's way cheaper than that. Plus, it's subsidized through Tesla. Plus, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I've heard it's cheaper than that. I can't say for sure though because I don't know for sure. But valid point. If it's $250,000, it will take a while. I will tell you this: one thing. People always complain about the time to charge Teslas, and they're saying that if everyone has an EV, that all the stations would be backed up. People will be waiting in lines. It doesn't really work that way. What you got to remember is most people charge them at home. I can't remember the last time that I charged mine anywhere but my house. So I'd say if everyone had if every car that was gas today turned into an EV and every gas station pump was an EV charger, it would actually be too many, not too few. Because most people don't charge unless you're going on a road trip. You don't ever go to a charger.
We got a Meijer grocery store that's kind of similar to a Walmart Supercenter or a Kroger or something. And they have some Tesla charging stations. And they got like 6 or 7 of them. And I don't see a store buying 6 or 7 charging stations if they're that expensive. I mean, I couldn't go too.
Yeah, $250,000. Yeah, you're right, though. I've seen them.
Like $1.5 million.
Yeah.
There's no way they can make the money.
Yeah, I see them at gas stations. Electric planes. Electric planes would need to be around for like 20 years without problems before I'd even get on one. There's no way. I mean, the power's there, but I would worry so much about running out of energy before you get there.
I don't know, Steve. A lot of people didn't worry about jumping on the Hindenburg.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Oh man.
It was new. It was supposed to be safe like the Titanic.
Assetti Silver asked a good question. With all the technology in a Tesla, why wouldn't they have a solar-powered roof and a hood?
So I can answer this one, actually. Solar power, like the amount of energy that you get from such a small solar panel, like what you would get on like the roof of a car, you couldn't do it on the hood also. It's not worth, it's not cost/energy effective. You would only gain like a couple, even if you had like direct sunlight the entire day, you would only gain somewhere like 5 to 6 miles. Like it just doesn't produce enough energy.
Well, why don't they build some type of, since we're talking about Teslas, some type of charging system like an alternator on each of the wheels?
Well, they already
back in the battery.
Well, they already have that. That's what regenerative braking is. So there's no such thing as free energy. Energy has to come from somewhere. But like in a Tesla, when you're stopping, you don't hardly ever. I mean, the brake pedal's there for an emergency. Like if you need to slam on it, or if you're going too fast, you need to slow down before you're going to run into the back of someone, or if you're going too fast towards the stop sign. But 99% of the time, you don't even touch the brake pedal, because when you let off the pedal, that actually does kick in, and it does put the energy back into the battery.
You know what, Keith? Pretty soon they're just going to have a button on their instrument panel that says "Commence atom splitting sequence," and you just push it, and it splits an atom, and then they have all the energy they need for a while.
There you go.
Something, yeah. I don't know why they don't have some system to where, just like a bike pedal, you're pedaling your bike, you got a big spoke with your pedals, and you got that little bitty spoke on the back, and you actually get more spin on your tire.
Yeah, so you're constantly charging while you're driving.
Tires.
Yeah, but the energy's coming from you.
But the energy's not free.
No, it's not. It's coming from somewhere.
Yeah, but if you proportioned your spokes right, you'd get more energy. than what you're putting out.
No.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Anyway, Teslas have 29 ounces, Troy, of silver in them.
That's crazy. I didn't even know that. So, Jamie Foxx says he likes ICEs better than battery power. That's fine. I mean, they certainly don't have as much torque, but there's nothing wrong with internal combustion engines. I didn't buy a Tesla because of green energy or climate or anything like that. I bought it because I drove one and it was stupid. So true story. I have a buddy who has one. He's had it for a few years. And I finally said, hey, dude, why don't you let me test drive it once? I was just like curious, right? I didn't really care. I'm just like, let's see what it's like. He goes, are you sure it's going to cost you money? I'm like, you're going to charge me to drive your car? He said, no, you're going to buy one. I said, sure. So I get in it and we get to a red light and he goes, dude, when it goes green, just put it to the floor. And I put it to the floor and I giggled like a schoolgirl. I literally giggled like a schoolgirl on a roller coaster for the first time. It was nuts. So I'm like, okay. Okay. So that's why I bought it. It had nothing to do with green energy. It had nothing to do with just drive a Suzuki. I don't know a Suzuki that goes 0 to 60 in 3.1 seconds with no shifting. I mean, maybe they exist, but anyway, Meekrat says, yeah, that's what happens on Tesla test drives. That's exactly what happened. But guys, it is 8 o'clock. I know I probably missed some questions, but I had a lot of fun tonight. I always love doing these. I want to start by saying thank you guys for being here. You are absolutely awesome. And we will hopefully do this again in 2 weeks. I think Rob's next. Is that right?
Am I next already?
I think so, because Raven was last. So you got to be next.
Yeah.
So in 2 weeks, it'll be on Rob's channel. I hope to see you guys there. But before I get off of here, I want to start out with talking to my friend Ravenhawk Coins. Guys, we have 244 people currently still watching. If none of you are, or if you're not subscribed to Raven yet, you can click his name in the description of the stream. Go over there and show Raven that sub love. Let's get him to 10K this year. That'd be amazing.
Let's do it.
Raven, what do you have to say for us going out?
Like always, these shows go really fast, and sometimes it's like I've been a little bit quieter this show, kind of just seeing some of the stuff going on. The questions are great tonight. We really touched on things that we normally don't talk about, and I think that really helps, with the flow of everything. And we always have a good time. We get on early, we talk, and then it goes by so quick that honestly, when you said it was 8 o'clock already, I was like, really? And I looked down and sure enough, it's 8 o'clock.
I know.
But I have a great time hanging out with my bros, doing the show. Even that old guy down there, Keith, even though he's dusty and crusty, we still like him.
Rubbing off the dust.
All right. And then to the bottom right, we have the amazing Rob Finds Treasure. I'm sure everyone here is subscribed to him, but I would love to see Rob hit 110,000 subscribers soon. He's almost there. So if you guys haven't subscribed to Rob yet, go check him out. Rob, what do you have to say, man?
I always enjoy hanging out with my brothers very much. I'm super excited, Raven, to hang out with you in T-minus like 12 days.
Yeah.
You're planning on being on my Friday live stream that 23rd, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of
We'll
course.
do it like we did last time. So I'll be at the Grapevine Coin Show with Ravenhawk Coins. You guys can see us on the 24th of September. It's 12 days from today. Also, Keith, always a pleasure to be with you, brother. I enjoy you very much. They always give you stuff about being the old guy, but Keith, for those that don't know, I know he looks it. Keith's not that much older than me. So
Keith is really not that old, to be honest.
He really isn't that old. We give him a hard time. He's basically a couple of classes in school older than me, as in 2 sets of schools: junior high, high school, elementary, middle school, everything.
Hey, listen, no. You're right, though. He's not that old.
He's not even that old. It's ridiculous. Anyway, you guys are awesome. I enjoyed my time here. I had fun actually being a little bit off topic for a moment, just hanging out with everyone. And sub to Keith as well.
I do love getting off topic. I really do.
Yeah.
So guys, down below me, before we go, if you guys haven't, behind the cloud of dust down there, if you haven't been over to Keith's channel yet, Coin Crew, he just hit 5,200 yesterday, but let's try and get him to 53. So please go over there and subscribe to Keith. He definitely deserves it. A great guy, a fantastic channel, and he's a coin dealer. So you're really getting firsthand knowledge from an actual coin dealer when you watch his channel. So Keith, what do you have to say before we go?
I'm just a guy, and I still have hair. I might be old, rubbing the dust off. I'm just reading what Frank said.
Rich says it's not dusted baby powder.
Anyway, it's always fun hanging out with you guys. It is a blast. I mean, I really appreciate you guys having me. I'm just totally humbled that you guys have let me come up this many times. It's awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And hopefully we can continue to do this in the future. So,
awesome.
Rock on, guys, and thanks for having me.
All right, guys, and with that, we'll take you out. But listen, thank you so much. I hope to see you guys in 2 weeks on the man right there, Rob Finds Treasure. And between now and then, all of us will be uploading videos and going live. So you'll have plenty of content from us between now and then. But either way, we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks and have a fantastic rest of your night.